And now there's been a lot of rumors for the past couple of days that Rick Grimes could potentially be showing up in a new spin-off in 2026, and now this wasn't really confirmed, right? Again, take this with a grain of salt, but apparently Rick Grimes is going to be appearing in 2026. Now we don't know if this is a spin-off that's a Rick Grimes focused spin-off or if it's somebody else's spin-off. So in today's video, I'm just going to be giving my theories and speculation about that and just talking about if this thing is real or not. So please stay tuned. And now, before we actually get into the video, I'd like to ask you all to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the growth. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to ask you all to like this video as much as you guys can. It helps a ton. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. And now, for the past couple of days, there have been rumors on X, or aka Twitter, and also just around the Walking Dead community, that Rick Grimes is going to appear in some sort of spin-off in 2026. Now, we don't know if it's going to be The Ones Who Live Season 2, or if it's going to be a totally new show, or if it's going to be in Daryl Dixon or Dead City. Now, first of all, I think that this has some truth to it, and I know that a lot of people are not believing this, and that's because at Andrew Lincoln News or Andy Lincoln News on Twitter did not tweet about this at all. And of course, they are a very reliable source in the Walking Dead community, and a lot of people do take their word for it. But personally, I think that there is some truth behind this, and I'm not saying that these tweets and these rumors are 100% real, but there is some proof behind this. And now, a few weeks back, The Ones Who Live did premiere on Netflix, and of course I'm in Canada, so it didn't premiere here on Netflix, but it did premiere in the States, and apparently it saw massive success, right? And a lot of people were watching The Ones Who Live, and in my opinion, it did make sense for it to succeed on Netflix. And the reason for that is that all 11 seasons of The Walking Dead main show are available on Netflix, whereas the other spin-offs are not available. So it was very hard for the average consumer or like the viewer to watch The Ones Who Live, Dead City, or Daryl Dixon, because they would have to get an AMC Plus membership for that. I mean, of course, like everything being available on one platform, it does make sense for it to, be more convenient for the viewer. And I think that after the success of The Ones Who Live on Netflix did stir up some conversations in AMC, right? And the higher-ups probably did start discussing a potential Ones Who Live Season 2 or some other Rick Grimes spin-off. And of course, it makes sense for Rick Grimes to have another season of The Ones Who Live, or just like his own spin-off just focused on him. Even though if it's necessarily not The Ones Who Live, it makes sense for Rick Grimes to star in something solo. And this is solely because he's the one that started off this franchise, and with Daryl, Negan having their own spin-off, I think that Rick also deserves to get more seasons of his own spin-off. And of course, The Ones Who Live is probably the most successful spin-off out of the three, so it definitely makes sense that they were to take this approach of The Ones Who Live Season 2 or some other Rick Grimes spin-off. And now, these rumors of Rick Grimes appearing in 2026, they sort of align up with other rumored spin-offs, such as the Aaron and Gabriel spin-off, aka The Walking Dead Bushlands. And I did make a video about this a few days ago, and apparently there is an Aaron and Gabriel spin-off in the works. It's not 100% confirmed, but this does lead back to what Scott Gimple did say in San Diego Comic-Con, that he's working on multiple other spin-offs. And if we were to take these rumors seriously, apparently Scott Gimple is working on multiple spin-offs, and The Walking Dead Bushlands is one of them. So it definitely makes sense that Rick Grimes makes a cameo in The Walking Dead Bushlands, or he has some sort of integral part in that. Maybe this rumor is pointing towards that Rick Grimes is going to be showing up in another spin-off, but he's going to have a very big impact on it. And now that we're on the topic of Rick Grimes making a cameo in other spin-offs, a few days ago, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 3 wrapped up filming, and it wrapped up in Spain. So, it's very likely that Rick Grimes is not going to be appearing in Daryl Dixon Season 3, and also on top of that, Andrew Lincoln is shooting something else. I'm not sure if it's a movie or a TV show, but there have been some set photos of Andrew Lincoln, shooting something completely different. So it's very likely that he's not going to be appearing in Daryl Dixon Season 3, and if we were to go off by some rumors, Daryl Daryl Dixon is going to be getting a season 4. So we're not going to be getting a Daryl and Rick reunion anytime soon, but there have been a lot of rumors and some leaks that Rick Grimes is going to be showing up in Dead City Season 2, which is insane because I'm not sure as to how big this cameo is going to be, right? To what capacity, but apparently he's going to be showing up in Season 2 of Dead City, and it's very likely that we're going to be getting a Rick and Negan reunion before we get a Rick and Daryl reunion. Now, I'm not sure as to how they're going to be pulling this off because Dead City is apparently getting a season 3, and if we were to go by timeline and when these spin-offs come out, it's very likely that Dead City is going to be coming out in 2026. So if Rick is not appearing in season 2 of Dead City, it is possible that Rick is going to be appearing in Dead City Season 3, and also because of the Walking Dead universe timeline, Dead City does align with The Ones Who Live and its finale. So if Season 3 is the last season of Dead City, then it's possible that at the end of that spinoff, we'll see Rick Grimes making a cameo in Dead City Season 3. But I personally wish that The Ones Who Live gets a season 2, and that's solely because that spinoff had so much potential, and it seems like that they really underutilized the whole concept of The Ones Who Live. And of course, as you all know, I do not like the ending of The Ones Who Live, but a lot of people do like that spinoff, and I'm not saying that it's a bad spinoff. It's probably the best out of the 3, and I'm saying that only the finale wasn't good, but the rest of the show was actually pretty good, and it was pretty enjoyable to watch. So I do hope that The Ones Who Live gets a season 2, and with the success, like I mentioned before, on Netflix, it seems like that it's a real possibility for it to happen, and it does seem like that Andrew Lincoln is starting to get more and more open towards the idea of returning as Rick Grimes, and there's a lot of story to tell there, and I really do hope that Rick Grimes does make an appearance in 2025 or 2026, because I mean, it just seemed like wasted potential if you just show Rick Grimes, right? He has only one season of his own spin-off, and then he just doesn't show up whatsoever. Then it goes back to that whole cycle of nobody mentioning Rick, or Rick being gone for so long. So I do hope that he has a more integral part in this universe, and he finally takes his place back when it comes to the leader of the Walking Dead universe and the main face front of this franchise. But another spin-off I wanted to talk about is a crossover spin-off. And now, throughout the past couple of months, the rumors of this crossover spin-off have been getting more and more frequent. And I mean, rightfully so, because I mean, you need to have an endgame for the Walking Dead universe, and of course a Walking Dead final season, so to speak, is the right way to do it. And if we were to assume that Daryl Dixon Season 3 is the last season of Daryl Dixon, which is very unlikely, and Dead City Season 3 is the last season of Dead City, then it is possible that 2026 or 2027 will be getting this crossover spinoff. And the main reason for that is that the Walking Dead universe doesn't have like the same longevity as the MCU does, or any other big franchise like that, because the characters are endless for Marvel and DC and these other franchises, whereas the Walking Dead only has a handful of very popular characters, and it seems like that they're only going to be playing around with those very popular characters. They're not going to make any new characters, and they're just going to stick with Daryl, Negan, Rick, Maggie, and Carol, which is totally fine, right? I mean, there are way more characters at their disposal, such as the Fear characters, which they could use those characters to, you know, increase the longevity of this universe. But I personally think that you can't really work these actors for any longer than they need to, right? I mean, like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Norman Reedus, Andrew Lincoln, I mean, they're all gonna get old one day, and it's the same argument as to, like, you know, Robert Downey Jr. returning to the MCU. I mean, they're gonna make him do that until he's 90, right? I mean, of course, he's back as Doctor Doom, and also Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, right? These are characters that they could return because their characters work that way, right? I mean, the MCU has the multiverse, whereas The Walking Dead doesn't really have a multiverse concept. You need to keep it grounded, and you need to have a conclusion before it gets very stale. And I know that a lot of people in the Walking Dead community, or people that have stopped watching The Walking Dead, have been saying that the Walking Dead universe is getting very stale, which is pretty sad. I mean, this is my most favorite franchise of all time, and just seeing people say that, it kind of does feel a little bitter, but you know, it is the truth, right? I mean, The Walking Dead main show had 11 seasons to it, and on top of that, you have these spin-offs which are not really going anywhere, right? I mean, Daryl Dixon season 1 and 2, right? We thought that it was going to be more impactful to the broader Walking Dead universe, but it really didn't, right? Of course, season 2 being the prime example of that. Dead City season 1, it of course did not have any impact whatsoever on the Walking Dead universe, and The Ones Who Live, it really just took away the main big bads of the Walking Dead universe, which were the CRM. And that goes into my other point when it comes to longevity of the Walking Dead universe, is that there was no point to kill off the CRM if you really wanted to increase the lifespan of this universe, because the CRM were teased since season 8 of The Walking Dead, and they showed up in Fear the Walking Dead as well, and other characters did interact with the CRM, such as Morgan, Negan, and Gabriel. So why would you keep the CRM as a Rick exclusive thing, whereas other characters did have experiences with the CRM and World Beyond being a CRM spin-off, and then you just put an end to that storyline in one season of a spin-off? Of course, that made no sense to me whatsoever, and that's my biggest complaint about the finale of The Ones Who Live. So yeah, I think a crossover spin-off is possible, but there's really no build up towards that, which is my personal main complaint about these spin-offs. And now, in conclusion, do I think that Rick is going to appear in 2025 or 2026? Yes, I definitely do think that Rick is going to appear in 2025 or 2026. If it's a cameo in another show, or if it's a totally different spin-off, who knows? But I do think that he's going to appear, and this doesn't necessarily mean that I believe in the rumors, right? It's 100% possible that these rumors are fake, but I firmly believe that the discussions are starting to bring back Rick Grimes, and that's solely because of the success of The Ones Who Live on Netflix, and also just Rick Grimes being such an integral part of the Walking Dead universe. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I'd like to ask you all to like, share, and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much for the growth. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And like how I mentioned in the start of the video, I'd like to ask you all to like this video as much as you guys can. It helps a ton. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys so much for watching.